Prince Naseem Hamed became a prominent figure in the 1990s boxing scene, before ultimately falling to his lone defeat, which brought an end to his career. He achieved remarkable heights, a legendary match that decided Prince Naseem Hamed's future. On February 12, 1974, Prince Naseem Hamed was born to Yemen parents in Sheffield, England. He started boxing when he was 12 years old, and he quickly advanced through the amateur boxing circuit. In 1991, he won the ABA Featherweight Championship, and in 1992, he competed for England in the Olympics. Kennedy McKinney, who eventually won the gold medal, defeated him in the quarterfinals. Hamed turned professional in 1992, and he quickly became one of the most popular boxers in Britain. He won his first 16 fights by knockout, and he was known for his flashy ring entrance, his flamboyant boxing style, and his outspoken personality. He was nicknamed Prince Naseem, and he was often compared to Muhammad Ali. Hamed had a challenging upbringing. He came from a low-income family and frequently encountered prejudice because of his Yemeni ancestry. But because he was a gifted athlete and a diligent worker, he was able to overcome these obstacles. Hamed's boxing career wasn't without its difficulties either. He was criticized for his showy appearance and opinionated demeanor, and he frequently received arrogance-related charges. However, he was also a proficient boxer who could back up his words with deeds. In his career, he showed his talent to everyone by proudly achieving the honorific achievements of WBO Featherweight Champion 1995 to 2000, IBF Featherweight Champion 1997, WBC Featherweight Champion 1999, named Ring Magazine Fighter of the Year 1997, named the Ring Magazine's 14th greatest featherweight of all time 2002, named WBC's greatest featherweight of the last 25 years 2003, named BWAA's Fighter of the Year 1997, won 31 of his 37 fights with 28 knockouts, inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 2015. The split between Naseem and his longtime instructor Brendan Engel caused a cloud over the situation. Engel had a reputation for being a rigorous trainer and was a former fighter himself. He was renowned for employing unique tactics and instruments in his unconventional approaches. When Hamed was a teenager, Engel first encountered him. Hamed's innate talent impressed him, so he offered to coach him. Hamed agreed to Engel's offer, and the two men collaborated for a while. Hamed and Engel did not always have a good connection. The two men frequently argued over various topics, including trading techniques, but they were always able to put their disagreements aside and concentrate on Hamed's future. Hamed began to work with the famous Emmanuel Stewart, but a bright tandem coach student did not work out. Hamed was in charge of himself. He only listened to Engel. Once his financial account reached $40 million, the prince could no longer imagine listening to anybody else. Hamed had reached the place where the time had come for great battles. His record was nothing short of extraordinary, with 35 victories, 31 of which were knockouts, and without a single loss marring his spotless reputation. Having triumphed over all adversaries on his journey, the crucial fight against a boxing superstar had finally arrived. The Stewart immediately ruled out the idea of Naseem taking against Juan Manuel Marquez because he felt the Mexican style would be too uncomfortable for him. However, he eagerly embraced the opportunity to square off against another Mexican fighter, Marco Antonio Barrera. In preparation for this highly anticipated bout, Barrera was willing to vacate his WBO Super Bantamweight title and ascend to a new weight class. Negotiations persisted for nearly a year, while Hamed engaged in a sensational clash against the promising Augie Sanchez, showcasing his skills in a truly remarkable showdown. The prince's preparation and thinking were the main obstacles. He no longer labored conscientiously in Brendan Engel's training facility. His everyday routine no longer revolved around training. The startling 35-pound weight gain presented a huge problem before the fight with Barrera. Barrera's highly anticipated meeting was scheduled for April 7, 2001. Hamed was expecting to take home a tidy $8.5 million, whereas Marco Antonio was hoping for something a little less substantial. Even so, the record-breaking amount was $1.8 million. Even more confident in their forecast than before the fight, American boxing analyst gave Naseem a 3-1 advantage. A brutal opening round swiftly overshadowed Naseem's flashy beginning. Barrera was careful in his analysis of his opponent's most recent matchup with Augie Sanchez. Barrera adopted his customary balanced stance and repeatedly used the same well-rehearsed combination. A deadly left hook to the head is delivered after receiving a straight right or jab to the chest area. Throughout the battle, this combination proved to be very successful. The reasoning was simple. Naseem's left hand was limited by the initial strike to the chest, allowing Barrera to land his left hook unhindered. By employing this sequence of strikes and supplementing them with precise jabs, the Mexican tactician convincingly claimed the first round. Nevertheless, rattling Hamed was merely a partial victory. In the second round, Naseem launched a counterattack, but once again found himself caught in Barrera's trademark combination. In one particular exchange, the prince utilized a wrestling technique, causing the Mexican fighter to hit the canvas, which only served to further ignite his anger. The momentum from the second round continued continued into the third. Hamed retaliated with deft jabs and right-handed punches after Marco Antonio connected on a few good combinations. The Mexican was once again successful in unsettling his opponent in the fourth round, winning the round for himself. The fight became a tactical duel fought at a distance in the fifth round, with Barrera displaying better composure, but the match's dynamics changed after that. He successfully executed his famous combination twice. Hamed changed his position after receiving a severe warning from his coach during the interval, choosing a right-handed strategy. He successfully carried out his strategy, winning in the sixth round in the end. Despite his best efforts, the British fighter was unable to challenge the direction of the conflict. The ambience was ruined by the locals' unrelenting jeers at each blow Barrera delivered, erroneously giving the idea that Mexicans are in charge. Hamed, however, was unable to defeat his cool-headed and psychologically prepared foe. The fight remained evenly matched until the 11th round, with the 10th round going in favor of the Prince. In the 11th round, Barrera kicked into high gear. He picked up the pace, displaying increased speed and confidence, ultimately securing the round. The 12th round proved to be a clear victory for the Mexican fighter. He skillfully evaded his opponent's attacks and landed precise punches. However, Barrera tarnished his performance with a controversial wrestling technique, grabbing Hamed's hand and striking him against the ring post. Referee Joe Cortez rightfully deducted a point from Barrera for this infraction. Nevertheless, this deduction did not alter the outcome for Naseem. He lost the fight, not just in terms of the final result, but also tactically. Hamed himself recognized this reality. The judges unanimously ruled in favor of Barrera, with scores of 116 to 111 and 115 to 112 twice. There was no close defeat. Contrary to the claims of Naseem's detractors who relish in proclaiming otherwise, the possibility of a rematch was stipulated in the contract, and Hamed himself expressed the desire for it, attributing his lackluster performance to injuries in both hands. However, the boxing world was destined never to witness a second encounter between these two great fighters. Naseem had only one more fight facing a relatively average Spanish boxer named Manuel Calvo. At the age of 28, Hamed decided to retire, leaving behind a career that remained unbroken. He pulled off his renowned combination twice. After receiving a harsh reprimand from his coach after the break, Hamed switched to a right-handed position. He executed his plan well and ultimately prevailed in the sixth round. The British fighter tried his hardest to steer the combat in a different direction, but he was unsuccessful. The constant jeers from the locals with each hit Barrera administered destroyed the mood, providing the false impression that Mexicans are in command. Hamed, however, was unable to overcome his psychologically prepared and cool-headed adversary. Hamed's retirement was a sad day for British boxing. He was one of the most exciting and popular boxers in the country, and his fans were heartbroken to see him go. However, Hamed's legacy will live on. He is still considered to be one of the greatest featherweights of all time, and his flashy style and showmanship helped to make boxing more popular in the United Kingdom. He will be remembered as one of the most exciting and controversial boxers of his era. Hamed is now a successful businessman and television personality. He is married and has 3 children. He is still considered to be one of the greatest British boxers of all time, and his flamboyant ring entrance, his flashy boxing style, and his unspoken personality made him one of the most popular and controversial boxers of his era. Now, this video comes to an end. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this.